you can check out this guy's special on YouTube. Give it up for the hilarious Alex Giampapa, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. It is always amazing getting brought up like that. Because you see the audience's reaction change, right? Because he's like, this guy has a special. And you're like, oh. And then he's like, on YouTube. And you're like, oh. Like if it were like HBO or Netflix, you would know there's some barrier for entry. But YouTube, all you know is I uploaded a video. Like, sir, what's your name? Mark. Mark, do you have a comedy special on YouTube? You could. It's a pleasure to be here. Forgive me if I seem a little bit sleep deprived. I am. Reason being, me and my wife just had a baby. And I find me and my wife just had a baby to be kind of a silly way of saying, my wife just had a baby. And I was there. Because the woman does the entire childbirthing process. Right, they do the months of pregnancy and the hours or days of labor, and all I had to do was come. Isn't that hilarious? You know, that what the woman has to do to reproduce is the most painful feeling a human being can experience. And what the guy has to do is the best feeling a human being can experience. Unfortunately, that's just the way it had to be. You know what I'm saying? Like biologically. Yeah. Like if women had to have an orgasm to get pregnant, we would not exist. Nothing would have ever happened. This would just be a field. But it's wonderful to be here in this wonderful place. And obviously I smoked weed before the show. I know people sometimes are like, you smoke weed, then you go up there. It's like, yeah, I'm not operating a crane. I'm thinking of silly shit to say. It's a performance-enhancing drug. It is medical marijuana, though. It's medicinal. I'm hypermobile, which just means like your joints are messed up. It's also given me an oddly seductive voice. I know when I got up here, you guys were like, I don't know if I want this guy to tell me jokes or read me a bedtime story. But it's just so crazy to me because, like, I'm going to have to discipline a child like this. I feel like it won't work. Go to your room. I think someone needs a spanking. I'm going to have to specifically tell my kid, like, do not call me daddy. I've been trying to eat healthier. My whole life I've just sort of gotten the cheapest groceries, which usually is fine, except for the eggs. It feels kind of bad, because there's the cage-free eggs, and then there's eggs. Right, so you have to go up to people and be like, do you have the eggs where the animal suffered? I'm trying to save 11 cents. But now you have to be frugal because the groceries got so expensive. Apparently it's because of the supply chain. But I feel like supply chain is just when a company wants to charge more for stuff, and you ask them why they're doing that, and then they name a random world event. You know, like walk me through this, okay? The blueberries that I'm buying are from Concord, Massachusetts, and then they end up in a grocery store in Burlington, Massachusetts, and they were like $3, and then they were like $11. And I was like, why is this happening? And they were like, well, Putin invaded Ukraine. I have a friend who's a health guru, and he was telling me you cannot buy the cheap groceries. You can't buy the regular groceries. They'll kill you. You have to get organic groceries. So then I started getting the organic groceries. And he was like, no, you have to get gluten-free groceries because the regular or organic will kill you. And I was like, okay, so I started getting the gluten-free groceries. He was like, no, you have to get organic gluten-free groceries because the regular alone, organic alone, or gluten-free alone will kill you. And I was like, I'm gonna kill myself. It's good to know now that the government is functioning perfectly. Like, what do you guys think of the guy in charge now? You guys don't like Elon Musk? I'll say this about Elon Musk. For an African-American immigrant with 14 kids from 4 different women who loves taking government checks, Republicans like him a lot. Elon Musk at the inauguration did this, and to me that was a Sieg Heil. But then I had some people telling me, no, Elon is autistic. So they're trying to say that what he was doing was like I don't have another better way to describe this. They were saying it was like an autistic flail. He was stimming. Stimming. Oh, that's like when you make like a motion. Like an autistic person will feel like they're overstimulated, and they'll make like a motion like that. Right. Okay. So Elon Musk does this motion, and the excuse is that that he's autistic, and then Kanye West spent a few years saying a lot of anti-Semitic stuff, and then he just came out and said that he's autistic, which makes you wonder, were we calling Hitler a Nazi? When in reality he was struggling with autism? No. But it does now beg the question, right? They say in those fascist countries, the trains always ran on time. So now it's like, wait a minute, was that just because those guys really like trains? If Hitler was stimming, it was from all that crystal meth. It's been amazing watching the Trump administration somehow be even dumber than the first. Like crazy, right? Like the National Security Advisor had a group chat with some other officials where they were discussing war plans, and he accidentally added a journalist to the group chat. And then, he was on the news and everybody was saying, this guy's got to get fired. But in fairness, if any of our group chats leaked, would we not be fired and on the news? Right, men and women for different reasons. Right, men's group chats are disgusting. Okay, a men's group chat, without giving away too much, let's just say, I've seen some memes that should be illegal. And then women's group chats are scandalous, but for a different reason. Right, women's group chats, from what I understand, women have a group chat with 40 other women, and then they have 39 other group chats, which are the original group chat minus the one woman they're talking shit about. And it's been crazy watching people completely change like what their political beliefs are, so it can just look like their guy is winning. You know what I mean? Like, Trump put up these tariffs, and then the stock market crashed, and all these guys are like, well, the stock market doesn't matter. And Trump is bringing manufacturing back to this country with these beautiful tariffs. Then Trump removes the tariffs, and the stock market goes up, and they're like, see? The stock market is the only thing that matters. Also, tariffs are gay. Just crazy. It gets worse every week. Like, did you guys see that we deported someone who was not supposed to be sent there? Yeah, we just sent Katy Perry to space. What does she think she is, a firework? Thank you. It's a real shame that slurs are so fun to say. Stay with me. I'm just saying, I don't like that slurs happen to be catchy things to say sometimes, but they have negative connotations, right? Like, I think that if you were to redefine them in a positive way, it would actually solve a lot more than just telling people not to say them, right? Like homo. Homo is never something that I would say to a gay person, okay? But again, I just feel like sometimes we change language in lieu of actually solving problems, so we feel better about the issue, but we don't actually save the victim of that issue, right? Like unhoused. Okay, we used to say homeless, and now they're saying that we should use the term unhoused. Okay. They still don't have a house. Like, what I'd like to do, instead of saying unhoused, is give that person a home and make them a homeowner, who I will now refer to as a homo. Can you imagine that? Just, I can't believe it, at age 45, I just became a homo. For this next joke, I do want to make sure that I'm not triggering anybody in the audience. Is anyone here the CEO of a major health insurance company? No, okay. I didn't want you to feel nervous around an Italian guy with a bad back. Does anyone not know what I'm talking about? Yeah, okay. I had someone the other day who didn't know they were Canadian. I was like, oh, you don't understand this because, you can go to the hospital. I had to explain to her, Luigi Man, he's sort of an American folk hero. Like, look, objectively crazy story, right? This kid gets injured and he starts taking psychedelics to try to feel better, and then he kind of goes crazy and ends up murdering the CEO of the biggest health insurance company in America. Then he gets away, and it's like, wait a minute, a guy named Luigi got hurt and started taking mushrooms to replenish his health. Like, dude, I think he escaped on a big green pipe, like, It's wild, man. And then there were fires in Los Angeles, and those home insurance companies were saying that they didn't want to cover those houses that burned down. It's like, dude, if I was the CEO of those insurance companies, I'd be like, guys, I'm nervous. Because I think this time they're sending in Super Mario. Yeah, they're trying to charge that kid with terrorism, which is crazy, right? I mean, I feel like it's going to be very difficult to convict him, right? Because you got to get a jury. So you got to find 12 people who are happy with their health insurance. Like, look, Facebook, to me, awful website. Terrible website. Facebook is basically every person you've ever met, and then you seeing their takes on everything that's ever happened. With the sheer amount of unnecessary information that I have to see on Facebook, that they give you a like button, and a mad button, and a sad button, there's still no doesn't give a shit button. Which I would use way more. Right? Like, I don't want to ignore the post. I want them to know I don't give a shit about it. It'd be nice just to let them know. And people are like, I just accepted a big job offer. Alex Giampapa doesn't give a shit. But you got Elon Musk in power now. And it makes you worried, because think about when some of these other billionaires start running, like Mark Zuckerberg. Like, if that guy runs, that guy is going to win, because he has access to everything we've ever done on Facebook. Which means that guy has blackmail on everyone. So what are you going to do? You're going to log on, you're going to post your political opinion, you're going to be like, I'm not voting for Mark Zuckerberg, and then you're going to get a message from Mark Zuckerberg. One of those Facebook memories coming back to haunt you. It's going to be like, on this day, 8 years ago, you looked at your hot cousin's profile 87 times. And you're going to be like, this is an invasion of my privacy. And Facebook's going to be like, Mark Zuckerberg doesn't give a shit. They say that these tech companies are stealing our data from our use of these apps. And sometimes I just don't know how good the data really is, because people act so fake on social media. You know what I mean? Like, my LinkedIn network is just guys I went to college with pretending to be professional adults. You know, it's always like, do you want to endorse Kevin Johnson for business management? And it's like, all I can tell you about that guy is that he loves Adderall and still owes me $40. And then, you know, the craziest app to me is Venmo, which technically is social media, because you see what everybody's paying for. And if you don't know, on Venmo, you have to give a reason for your payment, right? On Venmo, you have to explain what you're paying for. And I'm just hoping that they never go back and check. Right? Because look, if it's something illegal, you have to lie. And back in college, I wasn't super careful. So they're gonna be like, hey Alex, we were looking back at a few things here, and it says that on April 24th of 2013, at 3 a.m., you spent $80 on pizza? It's like, yeah, it was a late night, I was super hungry. Okay, but then it says here that at 4 a.m., 1 hour later, you spent $80 on pizza? I'm a bit of a pizza head, I guess. Okay, but then it says here that at 5 a.m., you spent $80 on pizza? Parentheses, LOL cocaine? I think you guys would go for a cocaine joke, but then you guys really went for the weed jokes. And I was like, all right, they're cool, I get up the ante. Like the weed jokes were gateway jokes. But yeah, in college I was doing too many drugs. I was going to class, I was getting it all mixed up. For years I thought white privilege just meant cocaine. You know, they'd be like, white privilege will give you false confidence. I'd be like, I know, I feel like I should start a business. All right, white guy, you left a little too hard with that one. But yeah, man, it really is a crazy world out there. You know, I guess you try to be fair to everyone and you try to have things make sense. One thing that I've never really been able to make sense of is the way that we treat transgender people. And truly, I think it's criminal and it's sort of misunderstood. Like, you know, not to keep bringing it back to this guy, but Elon Musk has a transgender daughter who he refuses to call his daughter. But if you call his website Twitter, he's like, actually, it's X now. X. Right? And, you know, if somebody tells me that they use certain pronouns, that's just the pronouns that I use. Like, sir, I'm assuming. Okay. You have a shaved bald head.
Yeah.
So I figured probably he had.
Yeah.
Probably a sir.
Right.
Or a very lazy trans woman. What's your name?
Mark.
Mark?
Yes.
Okay. If you were a woman,
Yes.
what would your name be?
What would it be?
Yeah.
Alexis.
Alexis?
That's my favorite.
Okay, no, that's cool, yeah. I'm gonna say everyone laughed because you answered very quickly. Yeah. You thought about it, I understand. Yeah. Also, it's funny because, you know, like my name is Alex. And before I got here, I was talking to my wife and I was like, I just feel like it's mostly a girl's name. She was like, you're being fucking ridiculous. So you just won me an argument. But look, if you came up to me one day and you said, I'm gonna start going by Alexis, I'd start using the name Alexis Not because I'm some kind of hero, really just because I have real problems to deal with. You know? I just think that, for the most part, as a society, we've decided that you shouldn't judge people for what they're into sexually. That said, some fetishes, very funny. Like, what do you guys think is the funniest fetish? Furries? We went right to 100 on this one. That's amazing. All right, is there anyone here that doesn't know what furries are? Oh, so we don't even have, oh, you don't? Okay. It's okay. No, it's okay. This guy's like, what's happened to the world? You know, like back in his day, it was feet. You know, but sir, things change. There's progress. Like, yeah, like, dude, a foot guy now is not even remotely weird. You know what I mean? You can't shit on those guys. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, we've come a long way. It's fucking, yeah, it's LGBTQIA feet. Yeah, man. But furries. Okay, so how do I explain this without being too crass? Okay, have you ever gone to Disney World? Yes. Okay. You know how, it's just so funny because it's like basically, it's the opposite of the birds and the bees. It's the opposite of the sex talk your parents had to have with you, right? Your parents had to explain to you what sex is, and now we have to explain to our parents what sex has become. Okay, so you know when you were at Disney World, there was someone dressed up like Donald Duck or like Mickey Mouse, and you saw them, and you didn't want to fuck them. Well, guess what? There's people who they want to fuck Donald Duck. They want to stick their dickie in Mickey.
I got it.
Yeah. And look, you know, understand that because of the internet, we now know that there is a fetish for anything you can imagine, right? Like, you know, there's a woman out there right now, and her thing is janitors, custodians. We don't know why, but for whatever reason, that's what she's into, okay? And every time she sees them put down that caution wet sign, she's like, is that for me? Because but I would have to say that to me, the funniest fetish is a humiliation fetish. And if you guys don't know what that is, it means there are certain guys out there who get off to being embarrassed. And simultaneously, those same guys are also very scared and paranoid that someone's going to find out that they have this fetish, which doesn't really make sense. It's like, what's the worst case scenario? Your friends and family find out and ridicule you endlessly. And you're just like, I'm gonna come. And look, I know a couple of you guys didn't like that joke. And I know there's certain parts of my set where it gets a little bit tense. But when you're not laughing at those moments, you need to know that the joke is on you. Because the humiliation fetish is my fetish. So you guys are sitting there like, I don't know about this part. And meanwhile, I'm up here like, I'm gonna come. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I've been Alex Giampapa. I'll see you guys soon.